Hi everyone, my name is Yesenia Pilier. You can call me Jessie, and I'm going to be from now on sharing with you several lectures of this self-knowledge course, and it's such a great honor for me to share this transcendental knowledge with you all. Today we are going to be studying lesson or lecture number 39 called Non-Identification with Things of Daily Life and Why We Judge Others. We are going to learn how not to identify ourselves with our defects and why not to criticize others in order to prevent the consciousness from falling asleep. But first, we need to know what's the meaning of identifying oneself. To become identified is to be identical to a defect. For example, we can say we are angry, and that means we become identified with anger. So now we are acting identical to how anger acts, yelling, fighting, punching, mistreating, and so on. We can say we're sad, and that means we become identified with sadness, so now we act identical to that defect. We feel sorrow, we cry, or we suffer, and so on. Every time we become identified with any defect, we are being identical to that defect. But notice that I'm saying being identical, and that's because that defect is not what we really are. We are consciousness. But every time we identify ourselves with a defect, our consciousness falls asleep. When a defect has taken all over our centers and is manifesting itself through us, the consciousness is not there anymore. We forget ourselves, we are not present, and we forget our being. We forget why we are here, and we forget that all this is an illusion. The only thing that's real is our being. We need to know that life is like a movie with its multiples scenes or moments. We have moments or scenes of happiness, sorrow, pain, all sorts of enjoyable moments, all sorts of painful moments, and that the important thing to do is to withdraw wisdom from each one of those moments, may they be good or bad. In order to do that, we need to observe the actors participating or manifesting on those scenes. Those actors are our psychological defects. If we, in every moment of our life, stay present and focused, self-observing, we are going to be able to observe these defects, wanting to make us identified and wanting to manifest through us, and there is where our consciousness is acting. A bad moment, a bad scene, for example, can be to have a fight. Imagine we had a fight with our partner. In that situation, the correct thing to do would have been to practice the ongoing death in order to observe which defects wanted to manifest through us at that moment. The defect of anger, of fury, pride, the defect of yelling, punching, cursing, hatred, maybe sadness, also shame, guilt, even the defect that commands revenge, and so on. If you became identified with them, you lost the opportunity to eliminate them at the moment. But now you can do a reflective meditation to bring that scene back and observe the actors or defects acting at that moment in order to understand and eliminate them. If you eliminate them from your psychology, that scene is not going to repeat again because there will be no actors to act it. We can also withdraw wisdom from moments of joy. Remember, for example, a scene, a moment of where you were partying and you were having a lot of fun. What defects were you identified with at that moment? Lust, alcohol, drugs, things, euphoria, exaltation, maybe fear of what people would say or think of you in the party, nonsense chatter, the need to be part of or accepted by others, gluttony, disobedience, maybe you were there without your parents' consent, and so many other defects. All the scenes in our lives and all the moments in our lives are given due to the actors we have in our psychology, and they repeat constantly. I mean, the scenes repeat constantly because we haven't eliminated those actors. So now let's talk about problems, because we have a lot of problems. But this is so because we have a lot of defects. Problems appear when we become identified and let the defects get to our minds. Our minds tend to magnify our problems, make them bigger. First of all, with all the thinking and feelings, especially fear, we are feeding them with our energy, so they grow tremendously. If we want problems to disappear and we start thinking, looking for a solution, it's gonna get worse. First, we need to eliminate the cause of the problem, and as we eliminate the cause of the problem itself will disappear, just like that, like magic. And what are the causes of all our problems? Yes, our psychological defects. Remember, as it is inside, it is outside. We need to solve the problems inside so they can be solved outside. When we're facing a certain situation, our defects tend to start projecting things that have not even happened, and we start to fear situations that are not real. For example, maybe I don't have the money to pay the rent this month, and my defects take all over my mind and start projecting what is going to happen if I don't pay. I start imagining that my landlord is going to take me out the apartment. Where am I going to live now? I'm going to end up in the streets. What am I going to eat? Poor me. What's going to happen with my children if I already have kids? And as I continue thinking about it, it's going to get worse. But this is how the magic of psychological death works. If we start killing and eliminating all that thoughts, all the defects manifesting, as soon as we solve the problem inside, it's going to get solved outside. No matter which problem we are talking about or how big and difficult we think it is. So, my recommendation for you is to try and realize the power of psychological death, okay? But this is not what we usually do. But we need to see problems as opportunities and acknowledge that the worst circumstances in life are the ones that contribute the most to our inner work, because they give us the opportunity to observe the most quantity of defects from which we'll withdraw more wisdom. So now let's go to the second part of this lecture. Why we judge others. Why we criticize others. This is so because we don't know ourselves. So the people around us serve us as a mirror. What bothers us about someone is exactly what we have hidden within our psychology, but we don't recognize it, we don't accept it. For lack of self-observation, we even don't know that we have it, and the thing is that we don't like to see it in others. Things that we criticize and hate the most in others are the things that we need to work the most within ourselves. And we are going to realize that as we progress in developing the self-observation sense. This is called the law of the mirror. We need to remember that psychological defects have two poles. We have the active pole and the passive pole. And sometimes we are in the passive pole. So that's why we start criticizing the persons that are in the active pole. For example, if we see a person who drinks alcohol we may say that we hate alcohol. We may start criticizing that people, and we even feel we are good, we are different, and that we are conscious. But that's not true. Consciousness does not criticize or judge. Consciousness do understand and have wisdom of that psychological defect. So whenever we start criticizing other people, means that we are in the passive pole. In this case, we are talking about the abstemian pole. So we have the active pole, that is the drunkard, and the abstemian pole, that is the passive pole. This is a very good tactic of the defects. So they hide behind criticism and judgment towards others, while making us feel good people, making us feel that we are not like the others, making us feel that we are better, and that this judgmental state we are in is a proof of that. Okay? So the consequences of criticisms are, first, we cannot self-observe ourselves because we are directing our observation towards others. Second, the self-critical judgment slips, so we can't judge or criticize ourselves anymore. Third, we are going to be put in the shoes of others, I mean the same situations or circumstances, so we can try their shoes. Fourth, the judgment we do is a slander, is a lie, because we don't know the truth or the reality of that person or situation. Fifth, it generates a very bad relationship with the person that we are criticizing. And last but not least, this also generates lots of karma. Okay? So, the benefits of fighting these two errors, I mean not becoming identified and not criticizing, are, first, we are going, or our consciousness is not going to fall asleep. Second, we will recover the critical judgment, so we are going to be able to finally criticize and judge ourselves, and this is what we need to do and what has to be done for us. Third, the ongoing death is going to perform impressively. And fourth, we will advance in our inner work. Okay? So, to finish, remember that the key is always directing the observation to our inner world, identifying which defects want to manifest, what pole are we in, making discoveries, and eliminating what is being understood. Okay, so this is the lecture for today, and let me invite you to the next conference or the next lecture that is going to be given next Friday, and is lecture number 40, called Sacrifice for Humanity. So thank you very much, don't miss it, and we'll see you soon.